Good morning. This is Pastor Mark McDonald with First United Methodist Church of Batesville, Arkansas, coming for another morning devotional. I've had somebody ask me about the translation of the Bible that I use because it's different from theirs. The one that I normally use is called the CEB, the Contemporary English Bible. It is a really recent translation. It's one of the official translations of the United Methodist Church. The reason that we have chosen this as one of ours is because it is a very modern translation. But it goes back to the original Greek and Hebrew, back to the original manuscripts, and it has people that are on an editorial board that come from lots of different walks of life, different denominations, different practices, and so they are coming together with a lot of perspectives on modern culture, but going back to the original language. So the CEB is the one that I use the most right now. But today, oddly enough, I want to share with you from a translation that's different. It's called The Message. Many of you have this. It's written by Eugene Peterson. Mr. Peterson has taken the original language of Hebrew and Greek and then translated into a modern translation. It's actually called a transliteration. It's a paraphrase of the original Hebrew into a modern language. So he studies the original language and tries to bring it into something that's more modern. For today's passage, Deuteronomy chapter 29, verses 18 and 19, it has a powerful word for us. You can get this in my CEB or your NRSRV or NIV, any of those, any translation you have, you'll study this and get this. But what Eugene Peterson does is translate it and bring it right down to the grassroots here, pardon the pun. This is it, Deuteronomy 29:18. Don't let down your guard, lest even now, today, someone, man or woman, clan or tribe, gets sidetracked from God, our God, and gets involved with the no gods of the nation. So in that first 18th verse, he said, don't let your guard down because it might let somebody else fall away from God. You've got to stay faithful to your God. But then he goes on, lest some poisonous weed sprout and spread among you. So in other words, don't let your guard down because then one bad thing comes up and one thing starts to poison the crop. A weed gets mixed in among the good crop. The 19th verse, to paraphrase, is even more pointed for today. He says, a person who hears the words of the covenant oath, but accepts himself, thinking, I'll just live the way I please, thank you, and ends up ruining life for everybody. Now, right now, we're being asked to make some of the greatest personal sacrifices that many of us have experienced in our lifetime, no matter what your age. And we're doing it for the greater good. Wearing masks is one of those things, but now as the COVID counts go up, we're closing some things early, but really we're being asked not to travel for Thanksgiving and see ours. And that's been a struggle for me. You know, if you've known me for a while, that my family Thanksgiving is a big deal. It's one of my favorite times of the year. So we've given that up for a greater good, just to stay safe. Even my own close family, we've made these crazy allowances about a brief Thanksgiving meal outdoors because we don't want to be part of taking our own selfish desires and saying, I'm just going to do what I want to do, and causing problems later for others and, of course, even for us. We're being called to stop the spread, but the spread is going crazy. And during this time, I understand the sentimental nature of Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's rough, but this word from Deuteronomy is a powerful one. I want you to hear that verse 19 again. We don't want to sidetrack people from God because of what we do. A person who hears the words of the covenant oath, in other words, somebody who's following in God's words, but accepts himself thinking, I'll just live the way I please, thank you, and ends up ruining life for everybody. If these were ever timely words for encouragement over Thanksgiving, they are right before us. Be careful over Thanksgiving. I hope that you have a blessed Thanksgiving holiday. I will have a devotional on Thanksgiving morning, but I want you to know that even as we look through the words in the Old Testament, Jesus' words in the New Testament throughout the early church, what we hear over and over again is stay strong, keep courage, keep faithful. And you know that our vision statement is to love God, love others, and serve the world. We base that on loving God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's priority. Loving our neighbor as ourself. That's loving others. And then serving the world, putting others before us so that they can start to experience that unconditional, sacrificial love of God through Jesus Christ. May we be that faithful over Thanksgiving and Christmas and in all of our days. So go forth today and love.